Hey there, guys. This is Goss here, actually doing a review on Star Wars Darth Maul. We're going to let you know what we think about it as a general impression, and just a review at the comic with complete spoilers in it. So,
I'm Pete. Maybe you recognize me from Clueless Gamers here, and we're going to go into a kind of a general impressions at first, and then we're going to go into a full spoiler review of this really great comic.
I just said that. Yeah, you just repeat it. Okay, anyway, so, following up with it, it's just it's a mini issue, basically for the comic. It's a short story that actually happens before the first movie. And it's showing you how Darth Maul actually felt and what he encountered through a little bit of a story with the Emperor, of course, and what he did on his own through his little journey. So our general impression, I think it was actually, pretty good. I thought the story was very impactful. It showed us what Maul went through and why he was so bloodthirsty inside the actual Clone Wars. Well, the animated series, and inside the movie, The Phantom Menace.
Oh, definitely. I mean, I liked that since most of his lines were cut in the first episode in Phantom Menace, that it was nice to just see more into him, more into his mind, what he's thinking, what he's doing, how he's got there, and I think it really expanded the character.
It actually showed you more that he was actually just a generally quiet character in general, and that's one of the reasons why I think he just didn't speak in general. It was just 100 thoughts running through his head, even probably in the fight against Qui-Gon and Obi-Wan, and we got to see that more about him actually inside this comic too. Exploring his mind and all kinds of evil intentions and what he was about and what he went through.
That was definitely great. I mean, we see some, without any spoilers, you see some familiar characters, which was really nice. We see some other worlds, and I think they really expanded the Star Wars universe in a great way, and I think this is a definite must-read if you're very interested in what's going on in that kind of prequel era.
For sure. I definitely recommend anyone to actually read this book. So it's just encountering him and everything and what he's about and people he encounters and all kinds of different people, and I think they're phenomenal. It's some characters that you might not even recognize to characters you will recognize.
Oh yeah.
So
that's pretty much I think all we could say, right? But without going into spoilers, so
yeah,
I guess we'll transition over to spoilers. So if you've not read Darth Maul, if you care about spoilers, you'd probably turn off the video now, put us in your watch for later. But if you want to know, here we go. So starting, I guess, at the beginning, I kind of like the connections they made with kind of the Rathtars that he's fighting and hunting on the first planet there. It kind of goes back to The Force Awakens. It was really cool to kind of see Maul playing with kind of his prey and kind of testing his skills out there. And just overall how he's super anxious about hunting the Jedi. I really like that. It gave kind of this ruthlessness to kind of that Sith character that you don't see in some of the other apprentices that Sidious has.
Well, that's what I also enjoyed too. I enjoyed actually how he was thirsty just to go after all kinds of people, hiding in the dark, lurking the Jedi. And I even liked when he actually was sent to protect the Separatists.
Yeah.
And I think my favorite line that he actually said in there was, "It's a shame that all of you died."
Yeah, that was great.
I
love that line because he was also trying to hide his intentions from his master because he wasn't supposed to be doing the things that he was doing.
Yeah,
so.
And I thought that was very interesting because he was like, you know what, I got to do this without him finding out.
Yeah.
And even going throughout the story, which we'll probably actually encounter in a little bit, is he realizes that everything's patience. Even with him just
Which
trying
is a weird thing to think about the Sith, right? About patience. Usually that's a kind of a Jedi mantra, but that was funny.
I like how they introduced that really early on, because I mean, you see that he was already planning before the first movie.
Oh yeah.
So we actually seen his thoughts and everything about it, even with Sidious, even though there wasn't a lot of Sidious in it.
No, and they didn't have to be. I mean, it was a Darth Maul comic book,
exactly.
But he had a nice overarching kind of thing there that I really enjoyed.
Which I thought was really entertaining.
Oh, yeah.
So, and especially him after he realized that he has to go to the bar to get some information about the name.
Yeah, that's a classic Star Wars trope of just going to a bar and it's kind of like a bad shindig kind of place with a whole bunch of criminals. I always like that kind of stuff.
And I thought it was really, really interesting. And basically seeing him get into the fight and actually tossing them out of the building.
Well, I like that he was purposely trying not to use his saber because he know that would give it away and they would think he's a Jedi. So I really like that he was using his natural fighting skills, which was really nice to see.
Yeah, and then seeing him actually just fight in general.
Oh yeah.
So I thought it was really interesting seeing how everything actually went about, him fighting, him not really using the Force, but I thought inside that fight he lifted up the knife and just impaled it in the guy's chest.
Very cool.
And
I
then
enjoyed that.
And then this is one of the familiar people that we were talking about earlier,
Yes.
is Cad Bane.
Yes,
Actually
Cad
gets
Bane.
introduced. And I thought it was interesting because he technically saved Maul's life, even though Maul didn't really need it.
Yeah, and Aurora Singh too. So you see
Yeah.
both of them from Clone Wars. So it was really cool to see them kind of show up and kind of a bounty hunter kind of villain style thing of how they join together and like, oh, I like your style. Hey, we have this mission, and it's exactly what Maul was looking for this Jedi Padawan. That was really cool.
Yeah, to get his bloodthirst out of the way. And I thought that was interesting because he's like, you know what? Yeah, I'll tag along.
Yeah.
They go to the auction, and I like how he actually goes on a hunt to find the Padawan, and then gets stopped.
Yeah.
And he's like, oh, I'm sorry, I just wanted to see the Padawan in person.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, he's thinking on his feet.
Right, that was really good to see him do something like that, but it was also cool to see him just go right for it, because he's used to his training of working in the shadows, so he knows how to kind of move around there, and then he was just able to turn it around, think on his feet and stuff like that. That was great, but it was great in the auction to see kind of all the criminal syndicates throughout the galaxy. There was the Pikes, the Black Sun was there, so you've seen all those kind of characters, so that was cool.
I thought that was really interesting too, and basically seeing everyone and hearing him communicate, hearing everyone communicate.
Mm-hmm.
And then I think one of the greatest moments is when they actually auctioned her off and everyone was in a plan.
Yeah.
So seeing them go through their plan and everyone actually executing it in the fullest of their abilities, taking out people and then meeting them on the ship.
Yeah.
I was like, oh shit. They were like ahead of the game.
That's definitely true, and I like how he also, later when they're escaping and he gets shot down, I like that it wasn't so easy for him. Just because he's a Sith apprentice, he has all this power, it doesn't mean that he can outsmart everyone in the galaxy, especially criminals to that degree.
Yeah. And that's what I like too, because they showed more of his weakness than just all his strengths.
Definitely. And I also like how Cad Bane and Aurora Singh, they don't trust him just like they shouldn't trust him. So they kind of have their own ulterior motives of like, hey, do we get rid of him at some point if he doesn't pay us or something like that? So that was cool.
Yeah,
I really enjoyed that.
I was like, what? They're going to try?
Yeah.
I thought that was absolutely insane.
And it fits with their characters too.
So,
and then, we get to see Maul have his showdown with the Jedi Padawan, which was awesome too.
And I think one of my actual favorite moments is right before that, is when they were forced to team up against everyone else. Because actually my favorite vine was basically when he encountered the Padawan in the ship.
Mm-hmm.
And he lifts up the lightsaber to her after she's like, how about you cut off the bracelets and let me fight you? He was like, don't be mistaken, I'm not falling for your tricks.
Yeah.
You will get your lightsaber, I will cut those off, and we will fight, and I will kill you.
Yeah, that was very cool too. I like just when she also first found out what he was.
Yeah.
So she knew the Sith were back, and like in that moment she's not going to live the rest of the comic book, because obviously we know what happens, that they're not revealed until the movie. So that was, yes, it seals her fate, but it was cool in that moment that people are aware that, hey, they are back and they're around. They can sense it.
I mean, in reality, I'm kind of upset about the character because the character's like really like good too.
The Padawan? Oh yeah, great character.
So good. Padawan was such an actual interesting character, and it was a shame to see her go. But I mean, we got Maul around, and Maul had to prove his worth.
Yeah.
And I thought it was really cool because their battle was really interesting and really intense.
Definitely.
It showed some hardship moments. And with her demise.
Yeah, and I think it showed kind of Maul in a way, I don't know if humanity is the right word, but it kind of showed him not only doubting himself, but it seemed like he didn't want to kill her. He keeps saying like, maybe in another life, maybe I could have turned her. She has some sort of darkness in her, but she knows too much now, so I can't do that.
Yeah, and
so I did like that.
He even said it. He was like, I'm not so much of being afraid of you as so much as respect.
Yeah.
And he had a lot of respect for her.
For a Padawan, that's pretty crazy.
He was like, he even said it to her when he killed her. He was like, don't be mistaken, you are not a Padawan. You were definitely one of the best Jedis.
Yeah, and she would have become a Jedi Knight, and I think he recognizes that. But.
Yeah, and that's one of the like hardships you do see with Maul, because Maul actually recognized power within her and her strength.
Yeah.
And I think at the end of it, which was even better, was they were like, hey, how do you feel? He was like, wait. He was like, you knew the entire time? He was like, I did send you.
Yeah, when he goes to Sidious on Coruscant, that was great. Because it shows more of the power of the Emperor, that even though he's not the Emperor at that point, that he has these overarching webs. And he's always in control of his apprentice, and he always knows what's going on, and that was awesome.
And I thought that was insane. I'm sitting there, like, understanding what's going on. I'm like, oh, man.
He pushed him towards her. That's what he did.
And then he even asked him, he was like, is your bloodthirst filled?
Yeah.
And he's like, no, it's not. And he's like, good. And I'm like, oh, so he wants him to be a murdering machine that's always thriving to kill.
Yeah.
Which brings him to his intentions, and I thought that was honestly amazing.
And it shows that he's now, Sidious recognizes that he's ready. You know, when he threatens him earlier, when he almost reveals himself to Jedi, you now know in Phantom Menace he's ready to face someone of a Qui-Gon and an Obi-Wan status because of what he's done in his training.
Yeah, but which is insane, because, I mean, we just watched him basically straight down a Padawan, to where if you go into the movies, he takes down a Jedi Knight.
Yeah.
And then he loses to another Padawan.
Yeah, former council member. So, yeah, very impressive, but I think his training that we saw on the planet in the beginning of the comic book with the Raptors, and then later with the Padawan, even with bounty hunters, we know he has skills, we know he has extreme power on the dark side, and he's just building up for that moment in Phantom Menace.
Exactly, and I thought that was just an excellent thing, and I think they should actually, like, if they really want to, they should actually release a second book about him.
Yeah.
Which I highly doubt, because it's so
Yeah,
close to it. But if they can release something that leads right into him actually meeting up with Qui-Gon on Tatooine, I think that would be honestly amazing.
I think that'd be cool too, or if, like, you know, spoilers for Clone Wars, the TV show, like, at the end of Season 4, you know, we see Sidious take him away, and he says he has plans for him. I would like to see a comic book bridging that gap between then and when he appears in Rebels, because I want to know what he's doing during that time. So, I think that would be fairly interesting.
I think that would be very, very interesting myself.
Yeah.
So, do you think we covered all bases?
I think we covered all bases on the comic. It's definitely a must-read. So I will go out and check it out if you're a Star Wars fan.
By all means. Anyway, guys, we're going to be signing off. So definitely check out his channel, Clueless Gamers.
Yes, like, subscribe, please.
Same here. Catch you guys in the next video.